Okay, guys, who wants to talk Takeover? This was not at all a disappointing or lackluster. I mean, this was a good show. This was I think it was 3 hours. It was the length of a Raw and just chock full of awesome matches. So anyway, let's talk. The War Raiders are always one of my favorite things at Takeover because their entrance kind of has, I mean, the pro wrestling version or like a nice pop culture friendly facsimile of like some of my favorite style of like music and guitar playing. And I think Vikings are neat, I guess. I'm not like into them, but like, I mean, they're cool. I like Thor. I'm a comic dude. So, um, but yeah, so the War Raiders are always like one of my favorite things, and their entrance was sick, and it basically kicked off Takeover. I would be okay with kicking off a Takeover. If anybody wants to send me some cake, um, that could be you could send it over, and that could be your takeover of my house. Think about it. We can talk. Probably give out my address for cake. Anyway, um, so this was kind of what kicked off Takeover, and it was I couldn't ask for more. The entrance was awesome, lots of smoke. Hanson and Rowe are both wearing these. It's like a helmet and like a mask, kind of combined. Very Asgardian looking. I believe Hanson's had antlers kind of thing going on. I like comics and play video games and crap, and I can't help but feel like I should really know what that. It's kind of like what Loki wears in the comics. I feel like I should know what that's called. The crown you wear on your face. Um, Yet I don't. That's gonna bug me. Anyway, but they're really cool looking, very baroque entrance. Of course, it's a takeover, right? And they had like the Rowe climbed up out of the floor. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was like smoky fog on the floor, and he kind of climbed up. Guys banging on shields and drums and shit, and it was just awesome. The War Raiders are great. They get me pumped up. I feel like the biggest reason I'm a fan is just their shtick. Just really works for me. But anyway, there's a little bit of a funny spot where Hanson has a little bit of trouble rolling into the ring because, like I told you, he had these big antlers on his I'm gonna call it a mantle. I think it might actually be called a mantle. That's what I'm gonna call it. He had these like horns on his mantle and kind of got stuck trying to roll into the ring, and that was kind of a funny little spot. And on Raw and SmackDown lately, or at least maybe not the last one, I can't remember, but there was a couple of them where they were kind of trying to combine Ricochet's entrance and Aleister Black's entrance, not necessarily into one entrance, but into a more streamlined entrance where Ricochet doesn't get all the way to the ring before Aleister comes out, or that's not what we got here. But what we did get was Ricochet coming out. He had wings on his ring coat, and he did a nice little flip, and really made the wings kind of flutter on the coat, and he made good use of the costume design, I guess, if you will. And so that was neat. Aleister Black's entrance was pretty samey. I mean, no big deal. Like, I like it. I'm not trying to act like I don't like it. I think it's awesome. I think it's one of the better ones in the company, but there just wasn't anything more special about it at TakeOver, not that I remember anyway, than on a normal Aleister Black entrance, or he comes up out of the floor. And speaking of which, at WrestleMania, they did not have nearly enough smoke for Aleister's entrance in his tag match. And you could see the board. I call it a board. It's not. I'm sure it's not a board. I'm sure it's a piece of metal and attached to a nice machine or whatever. But there's like a plank that pushes him up so he can come up like this or whatever. And you can see it plain as day. I mean, I've seen it before. That's how I know it exists. They only try so hard to hide it. I mean, they're not trying to make us think that he just rises up out of the floor as if by magic that he doesn't use in the ring or something. There's nothing weird like that, obviously. It just, you can see it plain as day at WrestleMania. So at least this particular application didn't, work out like that. But yeah, Aleister comes up, and God, I mean, I just love those dudes. Ricochet and Aleister Black are two of my all-time. It's gonna sound silly for me to say that, but they really are. They're two of like my all-time favorites. So a lot of guys that are from when I was a kid that I would say the same thing about. There's a period from about 2005 to 2017 or something where I had so much other stuff going on and only didn't really watch wrestling, and didn't watch it all probably from 2008 or something like that until maybe 2007, until, yeah, like for like 10 years, kind of on a wrestling relapse, if you will, and I hit it really hard. But yeah, so there's all kinds of guys. Like Shawn Michaels is probably my favorite wrestler. He was just, oh man, so all these tapes you could rent at Blockbuster when I was a kid, where Shawn Michaels was just a star of the damn show. And they weren't even old; they were like 2 years old or something. I mean, they were pretty contemporary at the time. And I really love Bret Hart, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was just. I had so many Stone Cold Steve Austin shirts in 1998. I remember one that just had his bald head on it, and old guys like dad jokes, I guess, would tell me, "Oh, hey son, you look better with hair," as though they thought I was wearing a picture of myself on my T-shirt. Yeah. I had a lot of that stuff. Undertaker, like I actually really like Triple H. I know he sucks and he's cheap, and I understand all the. So I'm just saying, like when I say that Ricochet and Aleister Black are among my favorites, I'm not the most historically devoted wrestling fan that you're ever going to meet. I took a break, but I'm not somebody who just started watching either, right? And I love those guys, but I really like Hanson and freaking Roan. I love the War Raiders too, Aleister Black is like, he's very much like my, he looks like somebody that I'd be like, oh man, like that guy should be in my band. You know what I mean? Like he just, or if you saw him, if I was playing guitar and I saw this dude at my show, I'd be like, I hope I play good. You know what I mean? So he's cool to me, and Ricochet is just such a favorite of mine. And I like him even more than Aleister Black, to be honest with you. He's so entertaining. Anyway, enough gushing over Aleister Black and Ricochet. It's just, I think this is probably their last match in NXT, and certainly the end of the match, which we'll get to, will suggest that as well. We have lots of awesome spots. Hansen has a spot where he's running back and forth between the diagonal ring posts, smashing in alternately Aleister Black and Ricochet. Rowan and Black have a nice spot. It's actually before this, what I just mentioned, I think, where it was like a MMA type exchange. I know Aleister has that background as a kickboxer or something, right? And I don't know whether Rowe does or not. He probably does. That's probably why it was those two that did that. It's probably it. And they have a nice little there's like a showing of respect. There's like a bow afterwards, I think maybe, or like a handshake or somewhere in there. It's cool, man. And Ricochet, he actually lifts Hansen up and then slams him down. It's pretty incredible. This match, Hansen hits this awesome springboard back elbow on Ricochet right after dodging. I think it was a handspring. Yeah, Ricochet went for a handspring kick off the ropes, which Hansen dodged, and then went a handspring himself and came with a back elbow and landed it right on Ricochet. And for a guy this size, Hansen is as big as a house and not, one of these brick house built athlete looking. He is an athlete, and I'm sure he's strong as hell. The dude just obviously likes hoagies too. You know what I mean? And that's fine. Get your hoagie. Get the hoagie. It's cool. I go from being a skinny guy to a fat skinny guy really quick. I'm not judging anybody, but Hansen is not about looking like he just lifts weights all the time. This dude likes his hoagies and his bear claws and shit, and he's not shy about it, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind. It's amazing the stuff he can do in the ring at his size. And the reason I say all this stuff about his size is because I'm sure that there's one or two people who are maybe friends of mine who watch these videos or put them on while they're cooking eggs or something just to give me a little bit of support. And if you're listening to this is a YouTube clip that maybe you want to go check out because this dude is just so big and so acrobatic. And anyway, the War Raiders are trying to, at one point in time, they're trying to double pin Ricochet. So they're both on top of Ricochet, and there's no way Ricochet, this little dude, is kicking out of these two giants laying on top of him. But Aleister Black comes off the top rope out of nowhere with almost like a coup de grace type, just double foot stomp right onto the back of, I believe it was Rowe, and it breaks up the pin, and this match just keeps going, and it keeps giving. There's a whole bunch of just spots galore that are really good, really good. You have, it got maybe a tad bit sloppy at times. It was not by any means a perfectly executed, clinical technician wrestling match. But it wasn't in any way bad in that regard either. Don't get me wrong. But I think the biggest takeaway from it is just how sad it is that Aleister Black, I believe it's Ricochet, actually takes the pin, and the War Raiders retain, and there's bowing back and forth at the end, and I'm pretty sure it's Aleister Black and Ricochet's last match. There was in NXT, and there was pictures that were taken behind the scenes of what looks like Triple H is Aleister Black's dad, and he's holding him to his he's got one arm around Ricochet, and he's got one arm around Aleister Black, and Aleister Black's resting his head on Trip's shoulder. It's weird because in in one breath, I'm looking at it and thinking, oh man, that's weird. And in another, and at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but like Tripp like believed in these guys and like brought them in and gave them all these opportunities. And, you know, Alistair's head might not have been on Tripp's shoulder for more than but like half a second at the beginning of the embrace, but like a picture gives you the impression it was just and you know what? To hell with it. Even if it was, my point is Tripp is like he believed in these dudes, and they're moving on to a section of the promotion that Tripp is no longer in charge of, and that's probably emotional for them, and it's probably also emotional for Triple H. And for all I know, Triple H and Aleister Black are like really close. Maybe they share a bond over like music. You know, they both are. I know that Triple H is a huge metal fan. I don't know how much he likes black metal or anything, but like. And I'm pretty sure Aleister Black really likes black metal or some sort of like form of like more extreme versions of metal. I try not to be too picky about like what sound is what subgenre or whatever. But like maybe they bond over that a little bit. Maybe they, you know, I don't know. So I laugh at it because it is kind of a funny picture when you see these three grown dudes, wrestlers, hugging it out, like especially like that. And not in like a, I'm not trying to, not in like a, it doesn't look at all like sexual or anything. It seriously looks like Triple H is like big business daddy. And they're like, you know, get in here, kids. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like. But either way, it's also in the same breath, kind of this sweet and endearing and emotional picture. And I just can't imagine what that must have been like to wrestle potentially your last match in NXT, especially with the kind of shit that happens on the main roster to some of these NXT people. I might be emotional too. That's what I'm saying. Like Tripp doesn't run that the way he runs this other thing. And you don't know what's going to happen to you. Look at all these people that were cool in NXT and then just aren't later. And some of them are people that I've like trashed to people who watch wrestling, you know, for all of the last 10 years or all of the last, I mean, we can condense it down way further than that when we're talking about NXT, but let's just say, you know, they've been watching wrestling for all of the last like 5 years. And I might badmouth somebody and they'll be like, oh man, you got to go back and watch blah, blah, take over this, take over that. Like, okay, like I wouldn't trash Tyler Breeze, right? But like, you could, if you weren't like somebody who really could appreciate like actual like people do in the ring, and you're more just about like their character and how that's presented, which, you know, both approaches are valid. Tyler Breeze, you would know he's like legit. He's really good in the ring. And he's just booked poorly, and the creative doesn't know what to do with him right or whatever. But, you know, I could see if you were somebody that just looked at it by how they're booked and how creative deals with them, and you'd be like, oh, Tyler Breeze is a bum. And well, go back and watch NXT, dude. Like, go back and watch his match with Jushin Liger and stuff like this. He doesn't suck, right? So, like, you can kind of understand why they would be, like, really emotional. They get a big standing ovation from the crowd anyway in the ring. And then we get Matt Riddle versus Velveteen Dream, which is awesome. This match is everything you hoped it would be. We get a lot of Greco-Roman knuckle locks and flips and suplexes and a lot of holds. Velveteen Dream's shtick, though, is not at all lost in the match. And also as far as like in-ring storytelling, about halfway through the match, Matt Riddle gets a little bit frustrated, and we get to see a little bit of a crack in the bro veneer where he gets, I don't just mean like angry or intense. Like, you know, you've seen him fight, you know, you can't fight and you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, obviously the dude gets intense sometimes, but I just mean there was like a certain crack in like the self-confidence that he was able to display in the ring to show that like the Dream was really pushing him, which is awesome. And there were times where you could tell that he was really pushing the Dream. And I'm just speaking just from the story they're trying to tell us. I don't mean like I saw that they were getting frustrated. No, no. I mean, like they showed us that like this is the point in the match where we're starting to believe, well, I can't even beat this friggin' dude. You know what I mean? Or what's it gonna take? And that was displayed so well. There was a point where uh, Riddle hit like a ripcord knee strike, like Seth Rollins was doing like 8 months ago, quite a bit, and maybe almost a year ago at this point. And it was followed by Riddle got Velveteen Dream up and he hit him with the go to sleep, and then a German suplex that he bridged into a pin, but the Dream like kicks out, which is great because I don't really want to see the Dream lose this match as much as I really think Matt Riddle is great for wrestling, and I'm a fan. I love the Velveteen Dream. Anyway, the match was like near Fall City at one point in time during a segment that featured a Death Valley Driver. It's the Dream Valley Driver, I should say. Flying elbow that actually like Dream went for like the flying elbow that Riddle actually he like countered into the bro mission right then and there. Dream works his way out of that, but then Riddle hits him with the floating bro. Eventually, Riddle he gets the Dream back in the bro mission, and it very much looks like the Dream tapped. Like it really looks like he tapped, but the ref didn't see it. Like his hand went like, I guess you can't see, his hand was like tapping, you know what I mean? And like the ref couldn't see it. It just like when I was doing this and you couldn't see it, you know. The ref he couldn't see it, and so Dream, you know, Riddle doesn't let go of the hold, you know, and but Dream, that gives Dream like if he's not gonna let it go, like if you just think about it, like you want to pretend it's real for a minute, a guy's about to break your arm and you tap and he doesn't let go, what are you gonna do? You're not going to keep tapping. I mean, you might keep tapping a little bit, but you're going to be like, well, I mean, now I guess I got to really, really friggin' try to like get out of this. And that's basically exactly what Dream does. And he kind of counters it and rolls it into a pin situation and gets the win. And this was awesome. This was a great finish. I really hope the part where Dream looks like he was tapping actually is what we were supposed to see. It was supposed to look like he was tapping. And that's part of the story because it makes Riddle look really good. The Dream still looks fine. He tapped, but he didn't lose, and he still has his belt, and he's doing great. And Matt Riddle, who kind of had to lose this match, I think, because the Dream hasn't had the belt for very long. This is his first real defense. This is his first real feud. You don't want to see him lose here. Even if he does eventually lose it to Riddle in a month or 2 months or at the next takeover, like that's all fine. You just don't want him to lose it here because you're invested in him being the champion for a little bit. And he gets to keep it. So, and yet Riddle will have this claim going forward to having beat him and deserving a rematch. I love it. Walter versus Pete Dunne for the UK Championship. Match is freaking hard to watch, and for all the right reasons. We have a lot of joint manipulation. We have, it's incredibly hard hitting, full of strong style and very indie-like in-ring storytelling. Just so many incredible spots. I can't even really recap it more other than to tell you it was grueling. Just truly grueling and awesome. And sadly, we have a new UK champion, and it's Walter. And I don't even know how really upset I am about that. I really like Pete Dunne, though. Like a lot. Like maybe one of my favorite wrestlers. And kind of sad to see that he won't be the champion anymore. I'm sure he'll have it again. I'm sure he will either have it again, make his way to the main roster, hopefully not 205 Live. I would be okay if he was on 205 Live and on like NXT or something. And I know that's hard to do because 205 Live is a traveling show, and NXT, also travels. Not traveling, they don't travel, but their tapings are done in one place generally. And That would probably be difficult. But I mean, it's something that I would like. Because I would say I don't want to see him in 205 Live, and it's because I don't. That's where good wrestlers go to wrestle really well and have nobody watch them. I would rather, but at the same time, I think he'd be really cool on 205 Live, just beating people up, the bruiserweight and stuff. Like I don't think that would be a bad, watch. Like I just really don't. But I don't want to see him go there. So maybe he will have that UK championship again at some point in time. I don't know how much more there is for him to do in NXT. He was UK champion for, what did they say? 400 and some odd days or 600 and some odd days. Yeah, it was like 630 days. It was like damn near 2 whole years. I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, maybe get it back one more time and then you got to do something else, maybe. Anyway, it was a really good match. Really good. Excuse me. I can't. I feel like I'm underselling it because I didn't recap it a lot. And the reason I didn't recap it a lot is because I spent most of the time just going, whoa, oh, you know what I mean? Like I was very, very, and not to say any match I was able to recap was somehow worse. That's not what I mean. Just this had a certain thing to it that was very difficult to look away from, and I didn't want to be positive. So, and a lot of stuff that was difficult to remember, like in sequence, other than just this feeling of like these guys are messing each other up. So we have a women's fatal 4-way for the NXT Women's Championship. We get serious tandem offense by the Sky Pirates, and we get it early. Eventually, they do have to fight each other, and they wind up in the ring, sizing each other up alone for 30 or so seconds, and then into some lucha-style rope running. And Shayna Baszler has a mean, nasty stomp on Bianca Belair, right on her elbow. Belair and Baszler wind up in a kind of a hair tug-of-war around one of the ring posts, and Belair pulls on her hair a little bit, her own hair, like Baszler had one end of that long ponytail, and Belair grabbed from about right here and went, yeah, and like pulled Baszler, and Baszler knocked her noggin on the ring post, and it was actually kind of a cool spot. Belair hits Kairi Sane with Io Shirai. The Sky Pirates were not done teaming up, though. They have some more tandem offense and kind of continues here and there throughout the match. Like it never really goes away. They turn on each other a little bit, and then they're right back to being friends, which is actually kind of cool because it's this. And we'll see what happens down the road. They could try to split them up or something. I think that would be stupid. I think they should eventually be the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Maybe they should be the team that takes it from the Iconics at an upcoming pay-per-view here pretty soon. But they should definitely be tag team champs soon. So I hope that we don't have them splitting up or anything. It seemed like a good, respectful competition between friends that just so happened to involve body slams and face punching. But we get very, very impressive spots throughout the match. Bianca throws Shirai over her head like this and out of the ring, onto Sane and Baszler. I mean, Shayna Baszler has Belair in a choke for what seems like a whole minute at least, until Belair counters it into her like signature slam, the KOD, Kiss of Death, and she gets a near fall on Baszler. Io Shirai, she hits a double moonsault on who was it? It was Shayna. That was on Shayna, and she gets a near fall, and it's broken up by her tag team partner. And then Kairi Sane picks up Io Shirai and slams her right onto Shayna Baszler. Bianca Belair, she hit Io Shirai with and Kairi Sane. She got them both up in the KOD. I mean, this woman is so impressive. My wife and I were watching it together, and she was like, Bianca Belair is awesome. And I was like, yeah, I know. She's fantastic. Like, so entertaining. And speaking of the behind the scenes, she kind of looked really emotional. So she does this the double KOD, and tries to get a pin. Eventually, it gets broken up by Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler gets her into the choke, and Belair either taps or goes to sleep. I can't remember which. And that's the end. Baszler retains. It was a great match. Bianca Belair seemed really emotional in the ring a couple of times. Excuse me. And there, speaking of the photographer that I was talking about earlier with the Triple H and Aleister Black and Ricochet photos, in that same set of photos are a lot of photos of Bianca Belair crying. And I don't know if maybe she's on her way out of NXT as well. It almost wouldn't surprise me. She's got everything that you need. She's maybe a little green yet, and maybe needs a little bit of work on executing everything properly. But she's athletic. She's capable of a lot. She's charismatic. She has she's really got it. She's really got it going for her. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they brought her up to Raw or SmackDown, try to bolster the women's division, because we're going through kind of I don't want to say women's evolution, because that just gets said way too much. But I think right now they're trying to make the women's division as strong as they possibly can. Every division should be as strong as possibly can. So you're going to be like, yeah, no shit, Matt. They're going to try to do that. But it's, I don't know. I have trouble putting my finger on it, but it's like we have organically decided that the most popular wrestler in the company is a woman. Like, she's the fan favorite. I mean, Kofi's probably rivaling that right now, but Becky is the absolute fan favorite. And from a marketability standpoint, probably one of the most marketable wrestlers in the company is also a woman, and that's Ronda Rousey. She's got global brand name recognition. It makes sense that we want to have the strongest women's division possible to feature the company's choice and the fan choice for who is the best and most important, right? So anyway, we have the Johnny Gargano Adam Cole match, 2 out of 3 falls. Johnny Gargano comes out in a very Iron Man inspired outfit. Adam Cole and Johnny Wrestling chants are just melting into each other. We get Adam Cole, baby, Johnny Wrestling, Adam Cole, Johnny Wrestling. You know what I mean? You're just getting it. They're becoming one big chant that's like fighting each other in the air, the vibration. These guys are both excellent at what they do. There's a lot of dodging, a lot of running, a lot of, ground type wrestling. A lot, I really appreciate it when you see guys kind of dodging each other, and like, one guy will punch and another guy will step to the side and punch, the other guy will kind of move, and then one guy will hit the ropes and the other guy will drop down. I really appreciate it when it doesn't look like either man is at any point, or woman is at any point in time waiting for the other. I don't like that. The spot that you see every week where somebody throws somebody into the ropes and goes for a back body drop, and instead of hitting the back body drop, they end up getting a kick in the face. I know what's happening there because I've watched wrestling back when back body drops were like a big move, right? Like the early 90s and stuff. Like, when Vince McMahon was going, oh, big back body drop, and he was doing the commentary and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's the early wrestling stuff for me, And so I know what's happening there, but there's like, if you were a new person watching wrestling, you'd be like, yeah, see, it's fake. See what's happening here. They throw him into the ropes, and then the guy bends over so the other dude can kick him in the face. Like, this is dumb. And if you don't know what you're looking at, that's how that spot can look about 75% of the time, I feel. And so I just really appreciate this about the Johnny Gargano-Adam Cole match, and that there's none of that. There's no waiting. It just really lends itself to the realism of the whole thing. Both men showing some real, well, especially Gargano is showing some real fighting spirit. Cole is working some really good nothing basic about it, but some really good classic heel work within the ring. A little bit of a heel upper hand. So we get like Johnny looks like he's climbing uphill the whole time for the most part. And Adam Cole is kind of in the driver's seat. And we back and forth action and near falls on both sides before the first fall even takes place. And Adam Cole wins the first fall with he gets the last shot after a long run of trading pinning predicaments back and forth. Technical wrestling. Marinello, he said it himself, like they were playing Marinello. Maru Ranello. Marinello, I don't know what I called him that. Marinello, he comes out, he says something along the lines of, these guys are playing chess in a world that plays checkers. And he's absolutely 100% right with how this match looked. So Adam Cole gets the first fall. He scores the first fall. And he reminds us all that he's a heel when he attacks Johnny Gargano before Johnny even really gets off his feet after that first fall. He's still being examined by the referee to see if he can even continue. That last shot that he took was pretty devastating. And he hits another one. Adam Cole hits another last shot. And almost gets another fall. So the match almost ended right there. Johnny Gargano hits Adam Cole with a spear out on the apron, and it's awesome. Adam Cole's back in control of the match, though, hitting the Ushigoroshi, but Johnny kicks out again. And Johnny has an opportunity to get a fall, but by count out, but he decides not to. He decides to break the count, and when he tries to put Adam Cole back in the ring, he gets bounced off the ring post 3 or 4 times for his efforts. Honestly, a particularly violent manner. I mean, that's always a violent spot, but I mean, this was... Anyway, he recovers pretty quick. He puts Adam Cole in the Gargano escape, and Adam Cole taps rather quickly, potentially trying to save himself for the last fall. And we get it rolling out of that situation. Gargano's bleeding kind of near his eye. I think it was above his eye. And the final fall begins with a series of near falls for each guy. Get an Ushigoroshi. We get a lawn dart. Both men are able to kick out. We get a reverse Hurricane Rana. I mean, just looking at we're in the last fall, and I don't know if you can see this, but my notes are just, there's still so much. That's what this match was like. I'm abandoning this altogether. There comes a point in time where the Undisputed Era comes out to try to interfere with the match. Johnny Gargano takes out, I think, all of them. I'm pretty sure he did. That's what it is in my memory. It's been 4 days or something. This was Friday, and it's Tuesday now. So it's been a few days. But I mean, this match was just awesome. Johnny Gargano gets his crowning achievement. He gets the final fall. I can't even remember how it happened. I think it might have been the Gargano escape. He finally gets that championship. I'm kind of going to look at it like it's an interim championship, whoever holds it until Ciampa comes back, if Ciampa comes back. I hope he's able to. Ciampa was out there walking around and putting his arm around Johnny at the end. I mean, they kind of break kayfabe a little bit and show that these guys are super good friends and have been through all of this stuff together. It's a really nice moment where you they've been convincing us that Candice hates Tommaso Ciampa and they're hugging it out, him and Candace, and it was a good moment. If it wasn't for the injury, I wouldn't like that breaking of kayfabe there, but because of the injury, I really liked that, and yeah. So I guess the thing about this match in the end, it was awesome. And it was awesome with almost no emotional buildup that had anything to do with the two men in the ring, like individual, like together. Like maybe some individual stuff, but so that's what I'm trying to say. The match didn't have any drama. But this match was supposed to be the culmination of a feud that's been going on for a couple of years. Some really long-term booking and long-term storytelling that we don't really see a lot of in the WWE right now. And I'm sure it would have been one of the matches of the year. And the crazy thing is these two are so good that it might still be. This was real good. I'm sorry if I seem a little bit emotional or whatever, or a little bit lost for words. I'm a little bit bummed out about Aleister Black and Ricochet not going to be on NXT anymore. I was kind of liking the bouncing around that they were doing, showing up for NXT TV tapings, and because that's only one day and you get 3 episodes out of it or whatever, show up for the tapings and work, a live schedule with the main roster. I liked that. I did. And who knows? I guess the thing I'm always reminded about NXT is that when somebody leaves, or when you get a group that leaves, you eventually get a group that's replacing them. And the other big news that was revealed on the show that I've not talked about is NXT is going to be welcoming none other than Kushida. Like, I can't remember his first name. I just know him as Kushida. Puff jackets, MMA style fighting, submissions, hard hitting, little guy, but fights like a brawler. I'm excited. You should be too. Kushida is going to be, if only just because it's somebody that you will get to watch on WWE programming that you would have had to have paid, another $10 to another company to see elsewhere before. I mean, it's just more bang for your buck. Now you're going to get Kushida too. So maybe, Aleister Black and Ricochet moving on, that's bad, but we got Kushida coming in. They signed a few other dudes too recently. Shane Strickland, Killshot, and Lucha Underground. He's cool. And another guy with a letter name that I can't remember. Something like, so it's like TJP, but it's not TJP. And he's like another, him and Mustafa Ali will have to have some fights because they both like to do the light up glow stuff. And so like we got talent coming in. It's not all bad or nothing. This was a great takeover. This Johnny Gargano Adam Cole match was, like I said, for not having any of the emotional build that this match was supposed to have, and then to just go over the way it did and to be as good as it was, it's a real testament to how good those guys are. All right, I'll talk to you soon.